You can do a lot of cool things with money, but what if the things that you do never land with you? We see that so often. Guys that run multi-million dollar companies, manage billions in assets, they can do cool things. They can do what they want when they want. There comes a point where money's just not enough. It can be a really cool tool for a time. That's all it is. It's a tool, isn't it?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Tim, how's it going, brother?
Awesome. Every time in my head, when you were saying then, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews, in my head, I'm going, and the crowd goes wild.
I was trying not to laugh because I knew that's what you were thinking. It's great. I love it.
Every time. So funny.
Well, I'll be your hype man when we go on tour, which is something, the Powerful Man we're talking about. We get a lot of requests for speaking engagements. And the next one, I'll be your hype man on stage before you come on.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Well, Tim, the topic for this conversation is one that comes up a lot. And when I say it comes up a lot, it's not what men are talking about, right? This is the conversation behind the conversation. And what I mean by that, this is the unsaid. Men are going for one thing, right? In this case, it's money. No surprise there. It's usually money or sex. But in this case, it's money. But really what they want is happiness. So the topic for today is make happiness, not money.
Wow. What a great topic. I wonder who wrote that one down. Kudos to the person that wrote that one down.
Well, I'm reading your topic list here, my friend, and it is a great topic and one that comes up a lot. Like I said, the guys come up with them. I'm reading your list, but as soon as I read this, the topic, make happiness, not money, right away, I'm like, wow. We get so many people, and rightfully so, that want to do better in business. And that's one of our specialties, right? We've been successful. Most of our coaches have run 7+ figure businesses, and they know how to run business. But we also know, or I should say, and we also know that really the reason that a lot of the men that come to us that are in turmoil is they want to make money because that will make them happy, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't realize that happiness and money, although money you can do a lot of cool things with money. Let's just call it what it is, right? But they don't necessarily always correlate, right?
Yeah, well, completely. I mean, you can do a lot of cool things with money, but what if the things that you do never land with you?
Yeah.
We see that so often. Guys that run multi-million dollar companies that have manage billions in assets, they can do cool things. They can do what they want when they want. But there becomes a point, doesn't there, Doug? And you know a lot of people who play in that realm as well. Mm-hmm. There comes a point where money's just not enough. It can be a really cool tool for a time. That's all it is. It's a tool, isn't it? And even if let's say, so my dad, for example, my dad loves Formula One. And one of the things that I imagine, and I'm just totally guessing here, if you're listening, Dad, let me know. I know he listens to the episodes, which is cool. But anyway, one of the things I imagine that he would love to do is go to Formula One. As I'm playing this out in my mind, it's getting more and more extravagant. I'll say the most extravagant version of this will be to follow Formula One around the world. Go to, let's say, 6 races out of the calendar, or even more than that, and fly there, fly first class, be able to go in the paddock, be there with the drivers, do all of that have that experience, which would be awesome, and I'd love to give that to him. I'd enjoy that too. However, let's say that I'm able to do that, and we do it, but I'm either not present with the experience because I'm thinking about something else, or the experience doesn't land on me because I just, whatever story is going on inside me, I'm just not feeling, it's just not landing. There's a whole host of stories that could be going on, but regardless, whatever it is, it's just not landing. What then happens is I might then think, well, it might have been the experience. I've bigged this experience up to be something really big and grand for me and my dad, but it just didn't quite land. Okay, maybe I'll try this one, and this one's going to be a hot air balloon ride over in Africa during the Great Migration. Oh yeah, that's going to be the one. I'll take him on that. He loves safari. Amelia loves that too. I'm going to do that. I know, I'll go for that one. We do that, doesn't land. So it's not, money's great and it can give you options and it can be a tool. But at the same time, what if I just went camping with my dad and just hung out with him in the middle of nature for a weekend around a campfire and just really connected and chatted? And it landed. Money's great. And, I'm not saying to go and retire to the Himalayas and be a monk. I'm not saying that. I love money. I love money in a very healthy way. But it's really not the answer. It's not about the money at all. It really isn't about money. It never was and never is.
Yeah. Well, as I'm hearing you say that, Tim, you're so right. And I also can't help but hear your dad going, no, camping fun, but
yeah.
Let's connect and go to the races.
Yeah.
Well, you're so true. It's the and I can't help but enter this conversation without that famous study that was done. And it was science and research has revealed on average, when you look at emotional satisfaction, right? Life satisfaction for emotional well-being, that's $60,000 to $75,000. That's it. After that, it doesn't increase that much. And then when they did the science and they said, great, happiness can still increase, but after about $125,000 a year, really, there's no big contrast, right? And I know some listeners are going, well, wait, whoa. I want $125,000 a year. I can handle that. And I get that. And yes, that's something you should work up to. But for those men that are listening that make over $125,000, we all know that the increase in life satisfaction based on making more money is minuscule. It's very, very minuscule. You and I joke about, buying things, right? I remember once the first time you came out to visit me when I was living in Bend, Oregon, what did I do? I spent like $4,000 on a drone that we never really used. It kind of that general dumb idea of like, oh, this will be a cool toy, right? We buy toys, we spend money we shouldn't spend. And that's another conversation altogether. But the point being is after a certain price point, right? It really isn't happiness. What is happiness? What makes you really happy? I was talking to my wife about this actually last week. We're talking about things that are fun. And she's like, well, what do you want to go do right now? I said, you know what? I just want to go shoot hoops. I want to play some basketball. I want to find a court, shoot some baskets. If I get to play a game, great. But really, I just want to shoot baskets. And she's like, we have a basketball downstairs, right? That basketball was a loaner, right? Didn't cost us any money. Of course, we could afford a new basketball, no problem there. But you're looking at experiences, right? And things that people want and what really makes you happy. And odds are it's not the money. When you chase the money, that's when you're going to find really a lack of a scarcity mindset and probably comparing yourself. You're going to say, geez, I don't make as much money as Doug does. So I'm less than him, or I'm less than someone else, or I'm less than whatever it may be. But that's not the case, right? What is it that makes you happy, right? What is it?
Yeah. And you know what? Whatever it is that makes you happy, that's good enough. So often we speak to men, first and foremost, that, like you just said a minute ago, really hold back from saying what it is that they really want. Because usually it's not the extravagant things. Usually, quite honestly, it almost always comes back to love.
Yep.
It does. I was speaking to one of the guys in the Brotherhood today, and he was coming up with his goals, and he was struggling with his relationship goals. And what it all came back to was he wants to renew his wedding vows with his wife.
Oh man!
He wants to, how phenomenal is that? He now has overcome a lot of the old behaviors that really took a toll on his marriage and on himself. He wants to renew his wedding vows in this new space and new guy that he is, which in all truth is just the guy he's always been. It's just not the guy he's always let himself be. You know, and it does. It always comes back to love. It really, really does. And I think often the men hold back from saying it because they don't want it to sound stupid. And I also think as well, in just getting real that it is love, they realize, oh shit, I've been so dumb. It can be really, it can be really easy, and I can actually have it today. Yeah, you can. But it's so easy to lose sight of that. You know, it's so easy to think that it's the money and the house, and it reminds me of, you know, a conversation. We've covered this in the other podcast, so I won't dive deep into it. But one of the Alpha Resets, one of the men there really got to the point where he thought it was his marriage or his business. And he was sharing how his wife was the happiest and felt the most secure when they had the least money.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought that he must have to provide financially. So as a result, you know, worked, thinking he was building the dream for the family, when in reality he wasn't. He was just building his own dream.
I mean, so it happens so often, right? When we see, in my story too, Tim, you know, I definitely did this. I lived in Santa Barbara, California in my 20s, business owner. I had 3 companies at the time. I've always been a little crazy. And, you know, one of my businesses allowed me to work with some extremely successful and wealthy people. And you can't help but have that comparison, right? Of going, oh, okay, I'm not there yet. You know, I'm not successful yet. But I remember one day, vividly remember this, of talking to this gentleman who I'm going to guess his net worth was somewhere in the 100 million category, right? He's very wealthy. And I'm working with him and doing some coaching. And he tells me, Doug, you're living the dream. And I look at him just puzzled, like, wait a minute, you have the dream, right? You drive a nice car, you know, you got a family, you got multiple homes around the world. You know, working with me isn't cheap, you know, and you're doing it on a regular basis. And he's like, no, you have the dream. I want what you have. You do what you love, right? You're following your passions. You go on adventures. And he started listing a couple things down that I do, but yet, Tim, I was taking it all for granted. Right. I was looking at this comparative analysis of me versus that person in one sub sliver, right? Just money as a metric, but not looking anywhere else. And truth be told, you know, yes, they made all this money. Yes, he was extremely wealthy, but he wasn't satisfied. He wasn't happy. He wasn't doing what he really, really wanted to do. And in his eyes, he waited too late. In his eyes, it was over for him. You know, he had already played the game of life. And although he won the money game, in his eyes at that time, he definitely didn't win the life game. And like you and I talk about so often, he didn't have that back pocket free life that you get in video games. That's no cheat code. To him, it was, you know, roughly downhill from there, which is an outlook he had at the time, right? But the point of this whole story is, you know, when I saw that, I had a paradigm shift and started appreciating the things around me, I became more happy. And ironically, Tim, my income went up too, which is funny.
Hey guys, I want to interrupt this episode because I want to talk to you about something important. We put together a case study on how almost 300 men have taken control of their lives. They're 4Xing their business revenues and they're having more connected and intimate sex, all without sacrificing their relationships or their health by using the activation method. Now, a lot of you have contacted us and they want to know how they're doing it. We put together this short 11-minute case study just for you, so you can see how these entrepreneurs are achieving this level of success. To get this case study, all you have to do is go over to thepowerfulman.com/11. Yep, that's 11. And you can get the case study right now. All right, it's only 11 minutes and it's going to show you exactly how these men have done it. All right, let's get back to the episode.
really is, isn't it? Because at that point, you don't really care a great deal about your income going up. You do in the sense that you're running a business and, you're leading it and all the rest of it. But, excuse me, you don't need the income in order to either A, prove something about yourself, or B, buy something to feel a certain way. Because you feel grateful and at peace within who you are, you then start to take pleasure from the smallest of things, walking outside, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, hearing the sound of the birds, feeling the wind, seeing the trees. And, it might sound a little bit woo-woo or whatever else, but it's always been the case for me. Do you know what? I remember one of the most profound moments of my life. And it was in between when I had moved the fitness business online. The Powerful Man hadn't come about by this point, but I was in a real period of transition. I'd left that relationship that I was in prior, got rid of the business partner, got rid of the offices, really started to do life my way for the first time ever, which really was just about trusting myself. That's all it was. It was about honoring my gut instinct and going with it and really simplifying my lifestyle, because prior to that, I was very much working. Not very much. I was working 16 hours a day. But fast forward to this most profound moment, I got into the habit of going for a walk in nature every morning, about 30 minutes. And the more I did it and the more I was present with it, I didn't have my phone on me or anything. I was just there. I was present, going through the woods and, well, you guys would call it a forest, but when I say you guys.
We still call it the woods. Come on now.
Okay. And it really, the amount of peace that I used to experience doing this, it got quite addictive. And I'd find myself just taking breaks throughout the day to go and into the woods and walk up and follow this route. And there was this one time when I walked into the woods, and I don't know what was going on in my life or what was happening that day, but I just felt this absolute sense of oneness and connection. I can remember standing there. I'm doing it now as I'm speaking. My eyes are closed. I'm standing with both feet, hands wide open, breathing, and I'm stood there in the middle of the woods listening to the birds, and I can just feel the birds with all the noises and the tweets and the songs. I was just feeling the energy from them. I could feel the pulse from the trees. It was just the most amazing feeling I have ever had, or one of the most amazing feelings I have ever had. My eyes welled up, tears came down my face. I wasn't uncontrollably sobbing or anything, but it was a very profound moment. I'll never forget that. I've not ever experienced anything quite like that since, that level of just connection and oneness. But it was profound. There was no psychedelics involved. There was no alcohol. There was nothing. I was eating clean at that time. I was working out. I was living a very simple life. At that point, I've moved back home with my parents. I didn't move into that house I was supposed to move into. I'd called off the wedding, simplified the business. Quite honestly, at that point, I had fewer things possessions-wise, and my income had taken a dip than I'd ever really had. And I felt the most at peace than I ever really had. It was phenomenal experience.
It's amazing, isn't it? And I imagine that the people listening to this too, if they were to think back about the times that you've been the most happy, and I'm talking about the most happy for 30 seconds or a minute, like when you unwrap a drone package, right? I'm talking about sustained happiness, right? Where it's been you felt that peace, you felt at one with yourself and truly happy. My guess is those memories aren't exactly tied to money. Now, maybe you're on a trip and there's some money involved in that, and you got to pay rent and eat. And I'm practical, so I totally get that. But the moments where you felt totally happy and at peace, or if I said, hey, look, let's go do something fun together, right? But don't worry about what I want to do. What do you want to do? It could be a walk through the woods or something along those lines, which is something you and I enjoy doing together. Those don't require a lot of money, or if any money at all. Yet this hustle mentality, we call it one destination, two paths, right? On the left side, you have the hustler as one of the people. On the right side, you have the person who's actually made it, what we call the powerful man. And, the hustler on that left side is hustling to fulfill something that's inside of them, to fulfill a void, but they're missing the point, really. They've lost where fun and actuality really are. And until, you listening to this, until you figure out what is happiness for you, what is it that you do enjoy, and what does that lifestyle cost you, both in money, but also in time, right? Opportunity cost, opportunity cost, right? It's kind of that analogy. If you're hustling, right? I'm hustling. I'm working my butt off. I'm working, 10-hour days, 6 to 7 days a week, which is not uncommon, right? So then I can spend more time with my family in a couple of years. Why don't you do it now? Why don't you do it now? Tomorrow is not guaranteed, as we all know, right? You'll plan for tomorrow, of course, but it's not guaranteed. But where's your happiness now? You get and you deserve happiness now, not tomorrow, not when you have the money, not when you lose the weight or whatever else it is, but focus on making happiness, not on making money. I can also guarantee you from my experience in coaching at this point, thousands of business people from different industries, is when you are happy in your business, you will be more productive and you will actually make more money. Hands down. Think of every business situation you've been in. When you go in stressed, when you go in with anxiety, when you go in tired, depressed, it's harder. It's a struggle. When you go in carefree and happy, right? And this is a gross analogy, of course, but when you go happy and you're really light, right? People want to be around you. It's an energy. It's a vibration. It attracts. And one of the things that attracts is more money, right? More customers, higher paying, right? They want to be around you. They want to be in your presence. And because unfortunately, happiness can be rare in our society, right? The news cycle is designed to keep you down, right? But happiness isn't.
Yeah.
So, Tim, give these guys a couple take-home points. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but I want to hear what you have to say. But I want to give these guys a couple take-home points of things they can do. If they find themselves like, crap, I'm in the hustle. I'm chasing money. And I truly know in the heart of hearts, that's not the right path. What are some things that they could do right now?
What are some things they can do right now? Create time within your diary, within your day, to do nothing. To just be on your own, without any agenda, without anywhere to be, without anyone to please. And in that time, just be with whatever comes up. Be with whatever it is you then want to do. You want to go shoot hoops? Go shoot hoops. You want to just lay down on a field in the middle of the day in the sun? Do that. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to go and whatever it is you want to do, just reconnect with that instinct that's within you that really has been communicating to you all along, but you've maybe not listened to it as much as you either would like to or could. Because just by simply reconnecting to that and giving yourself the space to do that and following it and honoring it, the more you do it, the stronger it's going to get. The more of a muscle. It's like a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it becomes. And from there, that will hopefully for you translate into you making some changes in your life in how you operate. Because in my experience and in the experience of working with many, 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 many men, once you do this and you start to see the other side of the coin and see life for what it really is and how much fulfillment and enjoyment you can get out of it, more than likely you're then going to start to shift your day around and shift your standards and your priorities. Your priorities are most likely going to shift away from business being number one to your own personal happiness being number one. And then you'll organize your day around that first and foremost, and business can fit in around it. And the other thing I'd say on this is listen to the podcast episode, setting your business up to serve your life instead of your life serving your business. Because again, in that one, we touch on some aspects which will help you with this as well.
Awesome. And guys, I would tell you also on top of that, really make sure, first of all, list down 10 things that, that do make you happy. So you know what they are. Because I know Tim, it's almost stupid admitting this, right? Well, at least I feel stupid. There was a time when when someone asked me, is like, well, what do you want to do? What makes you happy? I was like, well, I don't know. Leave me alone. But what does make you happy? What is it that makes you happy? Right? What is it you enjoy doing? Make that list. And then what's the cost? Another thing I'll ask you guys, and this is, very rarely do it. In fact, I can't think of one time when I've asked this and I actually got a real number. You get round numbers, which aren't real, like, 10,000 or whatever. But what does it cost for you to live your life? What's the price tag on that? Rent, electricity. If you don't know, you're just guessing, which causes struggle. It causes anxiety, which then perpetuates into the hustle mode where you just need more money. But what if the truth is maybe you need a little bit more money to live this ideal lifestyle you want to live to be happy, but maybe you have enough and you're chasing a demon or something that's just, you really don't know the answer. You don't know how much money it costs to run your life, run your household, right? You need to take back that power around money and finances and take back the power around your own personal happiness. Well, guys, that's going to wrap for us and another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I want to know, you guys, what makes you happy. So go over to the Activation Group Facebook page. It's a group page that's there just for men like you. And please post a comment and let us know what makes you happy. I want to know what your list is. And I want you to share this with other men, because I guarantee as you listen to this, a few people are like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, that's a good one. And then also, if we get you guys posting over there, maybe I can talk Tim into playing some hoops when he comes out here to the States the next time. Maybe we'll do a Facebook Live on that one. All right, for us, Tim and I, we will talk to you next time. Have an amazing day.